Hi guys, this is Swatantra Datre from Civilsdaily. I'm one of the core mentor in the team of Civilsdaily. Uh, Today I'm here to welcome a special guest, Kunal, who is an IAS in Odisha career. He's a batch of 2020. He is someone who has seen this journey through and through. He has, uh, someone who has immense experience when it's come to the all the struggles, all the hardships that an UPSC aspirant faces. So I'll be welcoming Kunal today, but before I just step in Kunal and we start our discussions, I just point out a few things that we are going to do in this webinar. See, this webinar is essentially focused on the prelims, the upcoming prelims from 2022. So this webinar, Kunal will be addressing questions mostly on the prelims perspective, but those who have questions on the mains, they can come and ask questions in our chat box and our team will reach back to them. So essentially, if in between we got time, we will be addressing those mains questions related to mains as well. Otherwise, the agenda of this webinar is how to do better in the prelims as well, because Kunal is someone who has cleared most of his prelims, because he was the only, he was not just cleared written four mains, he has also given three interviews and got into the list for the final time in his fifth attempt. So guys, here I am welcoming Kunal. uh, Hello Kunal,
Hi,
can you hear me?
hi, Swatantra. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
hi
for the warm,
Kunal.
yeah,
So
thank you for the warm words and nice introduction. And can I start now, or just it will be a question and answer session?
Yeah. Before we start with the question answer session, I just want to quench my thirst, because I have few questions for you before we start and hand it over this session to the students. So first of all, Kunal, I mean, I have done my homework on you. I have studied about yours. I mean, from you have been a civil and like software engineering, worked as a software engineer. Then you thought like you have to quit the job. Then you had fought for a dream, which is the dream of thousands of the Indians. I mean, every year, lakhs of history aspirants fill the forms. Then half of them would give the exam. Eventually, a few hundreds of them would make it to the list. So, what was that driving factor for you?
Well, this is a typical UPSC panel's question, I would say. Why do you want to join civil services? So to answer
Yeah.
this, there are actually two answers for this question. One, we normally prefer to tell in UPSC interviews, where we come up with big ideas, big vision, and all, and to score some extra marks from the interview panel. But I don't want to do that. I might sound very impressive when I'll tell that, or it may lead to adding some followers on Instagram or Twitter. But I would say whatever the reason I have started, I will tell that, so that it will be helpful for the aspirants who have come here and who are taking this much time to listen to me. And I would say that the idea to prepare for the civil services that struck me when I was in Bosch, that is my software company, and
Yeah.
I started earning when at the age of 21. And when you start earning at the age of 21, you seem to think more than just the money. Then I had some good and bad experiences. I started thinking, what can I achieve from this life? The good experience and bad experience, I just that I told you. The bad experience being I lost a very close friend of mine in a car accident. So that made me think we just have a very limited life. We just have a single life, and once that life is gone, it's not going to come back. And I would do whatever I can in this limited life. So what can I do? And good experiences being two of my friends in the year 2014, they got through the civil services. One from whom I used to mark the proxies when I was in engineering college, and the other one who was my roommate, जिसको देख के
Okay.
मैं सोचता था कि यार सिविल्स में कभी नहीं करूंगा, क्योंकि इतना अगर पढ़ाई रहता है तो आई वोंट एवर गो फॉर सिविल सर्विसेज. But these experiences just push you to think seriously about your profession. And when I was in Bosch, the life was very cool. You have a very good pay. you have 5 days of work, 2 days of holiday, but sometimes that luxurious life only makes you think about you need to do something serious. And that was it. Then I started thinking, ki, what can I do? Obviously, it was a tough decision when I started thinking about it. I spoke to my parents, I spoke to my friends, whom I can count on for the decision, and who knows how much worth I have. And I knew myself that I have some potential. I can do something big in my life, and only that thought kept me pushing. Ki, I have to do something else,
Yes,
something
you have to
meaningful
do.
from my life. And I think
Yes,
this is common in all the aspirants that they feel ki, yes, there is a lot of potential hidden inside, and they just have to give a right path to that potential. So
yes,
that was my motivation that I started. And I would say the the decision that I made, and I started feeling lively about it. I started
yes,
feeling ki I am doing something serious. But
yeah,
normally we don't tell this answer in interviews, because there are multiple dimensions in that. Interview panel will roast you on this. Ki, what do you mean that you were not serious and were serious? So, but this is what I will feel. Ki, that was my motivation to start preparing for the civil services.
yes. See, about that you pointed out that seriousness. Actually, I was someone who was called, who I fell in that trap in the interviews. So I totally understand what you were saying. See, you have also pointed out to me, like, you lost a close friend of yours. And so I think in a life of expense, even actually when I'm guiding students into civil studies programs such as UAP or SMASH, I the one question that I continuously counters, and the one question that I continuously being asked by the students, sir, there is a cycle. Like, I'm today motivated, today I'm not motivated. So also, I mean, how do you manage your fears? How do you manage your? I mean, in such a long journey of 5 years, you must have felt get depressed at times, because I used to get that. So how do you manage it? How do you pass through those fears and depression?
Well, yeah, there are a lot of fears. As you mentioned in your introduction, that I started preparing for the civil services in 2015, and I failed my first prelims. I left a job. I left my job with that confidence. Ki, I can do it, but I failed my
एक बार नहीं
first
हो
prelims.
जाएगा.
I failed my first prelims only, and that too because of 1.33 marks. I wrote Maharashtra Public Service Commission's prelims. I failed that in prelims only. Again, same, I wrote SEBI, RBI, Grade B, I wrote IBPS PU, I wrote SBI PU, and all exams had one common thing, that I failed at the prelims level only, and I got scared immensely. I felt ki I thought I made a very bad decision. But the journey that I started, I introspected myself, that why I started it, why I said yes to myself, ki I can do it. I When I thought about it, my inner self, my inner conscience told me कि whatever you have started, it's not because you wanted some huge fan following on Instagram. You didn't do it just to enjoy the perks of a government office. You're doing it
Yes,
something which is a very good vision. So keep pushing it. And there are failures, no doubt. Even today, if somebody asks me to write prelims, I would dare not say yes, because I'm scared of that. It's a very difficult exam, and
yes,
to make situation worse, your so-called well-wishers, your relatives, they keep on asking questions. What are you doing? Okay, what is the progress now? And they will keep on doubting you. They will keep on doubting your potential till the end. And
yes,
yeah, those fears are real. And I would say ki, you have to come up with your own motivation. When you
yes,
trust yourself, when you believe in yourself, you should not having self doubts. Obviously, when I went for two interviews, I was rejected by the UPSC. I had started feeling self doubts, but that time, that flame that had started, that the spark that had started, I think that will keep your fears to a minimum level. And
yes,
I used to go through these videos also, motivation videos. And the best one was this Pursuit of Happiness, the interview, the scene. You might have seen it.
Yeah.
So
If you have something, just don't let anybody say that you
don't
cannot
let
do it.
yes, don't let anybody sabotage your dream, not
Yes.
even your father or anyone. So these are some quotes. When you are in dark, there is one another quote. Pictures are developed from the negatives when they are in dark. So if you feel
Yeah.
you are in dark, rest assured that a beautiful picture is coming out of it. So like these sentences, like these motivational quotes, you have to keep pushing yourself. And I still remember
Yeah.
those nights when I used to when out of failure, I used to cry under the blanket, and your roommates are there, but you can't tell them because you are crying, because the society has a very high expectations. Especially, I'm talking about the boys. When they
Yeah.
cry, they will feel that, oh, ये तो क्या लड़कियों जैसे रो रहा है. But I won't say
Oh.
that. This is the same sort of society which keeps on doubting yourself. But don't doubt yourself. If you wanna cry, cry. If you wanna laugh, laugh it. But just let it go. Just
Okay.
let those fears melt away,
Yes.
and let yourself be rejuvenated again and again. uh,
Yes.
do anything. Go and take break. If those fears are haunting you, talk to someone, talk to anyone, your dear friends. If you have a girlfriend, talk to her. Anyone. That those things will gonna help you to reduce those fears.
Yes. So my next question is, I mean, it is being asked by especially to those who are on the other side of the line. What different you did in your final attempt?
Uh, well, Satendra, I wrote my prelims. I failed prelims, but after that I did not fail my prelims. So in my last attempt, if the session is about prelims, I did not do anything different, because I remember I was there in interview for 2018, in 2019 also. So I hardly got 30 days to prepare for the prelims. So I had a very concrete foundation. I had my notes ready, so I used to just repeat it, and I used to solve prelims questions, and then I used to revise again. And for prelims, I never faced a problem. The changes that I had made was with respect to mains and interview, obviously, because history is my optional, and I did not score much in history. So I had to focus a lot on history and interview preparation. Again, I tried again mirror techniques and all I followed. But if the session is about prelims, then I don't have any changes that I had made in my last attempt.
Yeah, I am also again. I'm finding so many similarities between us because I'm also an history optional. I totally get it. When we, after all the hard work, we get just 250. It is, I mean, it is. They want us to chase the Mount Everest to just beyond go 250. I totally get it. So before I hand over this session to the students and we open a Q&A section, my final question is to you that uh, I mean, there's a very popular character among their friends now, Sandeep Bhaiya, the mentor who, passed, let the protagonist Avilash to pass through. So, what is the role of mentor or mentorship in your life? And how do you say, like, how much the mentorship is important to clear this exam?
I would say it's very important. It's very important to have a mentor. I had my own, and I would say those friends who have failed in this examination. Normally, people would run behind those who have made through this examination. I used to do ulta, totally ulta. Those of my friends who had written this examination, who had written mails, who had appeared for interviews, but somehow they could not make it. I used to ask them what mistakes they feel they have made. I used to discuss with them. I have these doubts whether I'm doing any mistake or not. Because in Marathi we have a very good proverb, ki "Pudchas chhes magcha shana," like from the faults of the person who is walking in front of you, you learn your lessons, and you do not commit the same mistakes. So you have to learn the mistakes from those people. You have to speak to your mentor when you are doing something new, when you are trying something new. And I would suggest all the aspirants that when they are writing this exam, always have pen and paper with you. And if you have failed, just write it down. What possibly might have gone wrong. You can discuss it with yourself. And one thing I'll tell, you can't lie to yourself. You
Yeah.
can't lie to you can't lie to your mentor. because if you are honestly preparing for this exam, I would say be honest with yourself. If you are pretending that you are just because I was in ORN, I have seen many people, those who come to Delhi and they just forget that they have come there for preparation and they get involved in other things. But I would say keep prepare very seriously. And I think if you have a mentor with you, then he can guide you on the right path. If you are diverting from that path, then he can tell you, no, you are diverting from the right path. So in Civilsdaily, I think Praveen is heading a team of mentors. So I think he might be doing a very good job. You will have a mentor who can guide you about prelims, about mains, and about interview. Because whenever you have your self doubt, he is the one who will come and tell you, you can do better. I had my mentor. He's Mr. Bhushan Deshmukh, and whenever I used to fail, I used to call him, "Sir, I could not make it." But he used to call me, I believe in you, and I know in next attempt you are going to make it. Even those few words can make a lot of difference. So I would say have a
Yeah.
mentor. It's going to help you. It's not going to harm anything, but help you in this journey.
Yeah, I mean, you pointed out the name of Praveen. Actually, I was about to call his name because he is someone who continuously keeps saying to me कि स्वतंत्र आपको बस वो बताना है जो आपने गलत किया है. I mean, if a person is smart, he would learn from your mistakes, and those who can learn from the failures and mistakes of others, I mean, they are bound to succeed in this exam.
Right.
Yes, so thank you very much, Kunal, for answering my questions. Now, before I hand over these questions to aspirants, I just want to let them be clear with the agenda of the today's webinar. The question mostly would be related and being answered mostly focused on the prelims 2022, and those who have questions related to the mains, we'll be taking them either in the end, or we don't have the time to answer all those questions related to the mains. They can write to the chat box, and our team will be getting back to them. So yes, now the stage is yours to all the aspirants. I hope Kunal will guide you through and through about all your guides.
गुड इवनिंग सर. सर माय क्वेश्चन, सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है, संसद टीवी जो न्यूज होता है सर, उसका मेंस का राइटिंग के लिए कैसे क्वेश्चन आंसर बनाएं. और सेकंड क्वेश्चन इसी प्रीलिम्स का 3-2-1 मेथड सर क्या है, ये सब इसके बारे में मुझे डिटेल थोड़ा बताइए.
Sham, could you repeat your question once again?
Yeah,
Sir,
I'll just repeat the question. The question first is, what is that 3-2-1-0 method of elimination? Essentially, that 100%, 75%, 50-30%, that method, and what is the use? I mean, the Sansad TV's news importance in mains writing. So I think we can take second question in the chat. You can answer the second question. The first question, 3-2-1-0 method.
So second is about the importance of the news, right?
Yes,
Yes,
especially Sansad TV.
Especially
Sansad TV.
Sansad TV सर, न्यूज PSIR, yes sir, PSIR आप सुना, PSIR आप सुनने के लिए सर.
I have not heard about Sansad TV.
PSIR आप सुनने के लिए सर.
Yes, Shyam Sundar, I get your question. You may unmute your mic, please.
Okay sir.
Okay, somebody said IAS TV, not Sansad TV.
Now, Raj Sabha TV is the new name of the Sansad TV is the new name of old Raj Sabha TV.
Okay, sorry. When I was preparing, it was
Yeah, no, Sansad TV. Yeah.
Okay. So your question is RSTV. Is RSTV helpful in making your notes?
Yes sir.
I would not agree with that. For current affairs, especially whatever the current affairs are happening, or the news are there, why are you wasting your time again on making those notes? If you are getting ready-made notes of the current affairs, because I used to go through various coaching classes. Even Civilsdaily has a very good platform. I used to go through their website, and where they used to compile all the news, and it was done very beautifully, because if there is a particular bill, they used to give another link attached to that particular bill. If it is related to the social justice, then they used to give one link to that particular topic relating to the other topic. So I would say don't waste your time in making notes out of all again. You can go through newspapers. Obviously, you should go through the Hindu or the Indian Express, any newspaper which you find worthy of reading. I used to go through Indian Express because I used to find the language a bit easier than the Hindu. So you can go through this newspaper, but I would say ki don't waste your time in in jotting down the points again and again, because you will take time to write down those points, and again you will again take some time to revise those points. So there are various coaching classes who are actually giving you the current affairs magazine or the current affairs on their website. So I think that is quite sufficient. If you want to make notes out of that, then you can go through it, because in the prelims, normally it's the factual stuff that is being asked. So you can make notes out of that part. But going through the Sansad TV or RSTV videos and then making notes out of it, I don't think that is a good strategy, because going through the videos itself takes a lot of time, and RSTV videos, they will help you in mains preparation, because the panelists, they have their own views about the particular scheme or particular policy or government decision. Yes. So that helps you in mains answer writing, not in the prelims perspective. So I think I have answered your question.
Yeah, and that second question about 3201.
Okay, 3210. Yes. I would say 3210. Actually, that is not my term, that I haven't coined it. 3210 is, as Swatantra said, it's about minimizing your options, which are neglecting the incorrect options, which you find which are a bit of exaggerated or a very wrong option with negative words in it. You can remove those options, and then you can move towards those who are 50-50. Then again, coming down to one, and finally answering your question. Addition to that, while you write your prelims answers, I would say this nowadays UPSC has started asking very uncomfortable questions. When you start, if you are not from a history background and you start seeing some history questions in the beginning itself, your motivation goes down then and there itself. So I always felt that the prelims is all about the confidence. It's about the confidence that you carry in the exam hall. जब आप देखते हैं कि क्या क्वेश्चन पूछा है, फर्स्ट 10 क्वेश्चंस, एंड इफ यू कुड सी दैट नन ऑफ देम यू कैन आंसर, आपका वही मोटिवेशन जीरो हो जाता है. So in that case, I would suggest कि if you are not comfortable with the first 10 questions, start from 51, because every UPSC has divided in the questions into 4 sets, A, B, C, D. So एक तो कौन सा सेट ऐसा रहेगा जहाँ पे आपको आपके कंफर्टेबल वाले क्वेश्चन.
So next person I'm gonna call out Arshdeep Kaur. Please unmute your mic and ask question.
Good evening, sir. I have my prelims on 5th of May this year. Can you please give some tips to how to crack the prelims in first attempt? This is my first attempt.
Okay. So
I
now,
think, I mean, this is a very broad question, Kunal. I think you can just point out what are the mistakes that she should not be making.
Okay, as I said, in 2018, 2019, I appeared for interviews, and when the result was out, I had hardly 30 days to prepare for the next prelims. So to prepare for the prelims of 2019 and 2020. So I could write the prelims in these 30 days itself. So I would say ki whatever the preparation you have made till now, whatever preparation you have done, whatever the notes you have, I would suggest you to revise those properly, carefully, because I am sure that you might have made notes out of NCERT, you might have read current affairs, you might have read environment, and all those topics which are basically asked in UPSC. Polity, Lakshmikant for polity, history के लिए there are many NCERTs, and environment के लिए you might have referred some material. So I would say कि whatever preparation you have done till now, don't add anything extra. If I tell you some additional source, then you might go and read about it, but this is not the time. It's now March ending, and April, May, and June. You can go through whatever you have prepared till now, and revise it again and again. And second point is you have to solve a lot of MCQs. that will help you to come up with intellectual guesses. Sometimes UPSC out of 100 questions, I would say कि almost 40 questions will be there where you will say कि यार ये मैंने पढ़ा नहीं है. It is totally very difficult. 10 तो ऐसे रहेगा कि ये कौन से पार्ट में है, कौन से सिलेबस में है. We used to call UPSC as unpredictable, U for unpredictable, P for pointless, S for scary, and C for confusing. So all these UPSC points you will realize in the exam hall, and so in that case you have to come with your very intellectual guesses, and you have to risk, because if you don't attempt more than 60 questions, I don't think there is a point, because 60 into 2 120 you are going to get, and out of 60, how many are going to be positive, how many are going to be negative, you are not sure of. So you have to come up with your intellectual guesses, and that you will you will be able to develop when you have solved hundreds or thousands of MCQs which are totally unknown to you, and how you have come to the proper answer. I will say कि solve as many as questions as possible, go through the explanation, and if you have made a mistake, then think for 2 minutes कि what guess you have made and why the explanation is other than what you have thought of. So that will help you. That will help you in developing your intellectual guesses. And I'm sure that when you will come out of the prelims hall, you would realize that thank God you have worked on your intellectual guesses, because nowadays it's very important that you develop those intellectual guesses.
Yes. So actually, to sum up the Kunal's idea, you must focus on revising and solving as much as MCQs. Thank you for your question. Now next, I'm going to call out Saurav. Saurav, you may unmute your mic and ask the question.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I wanted to ask that I'm getting a lot of negative marks in test series.
Okay, Saurav, to answer your question.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Sir, actually the marks are means I'm getting approx 45 to 50 negative questions.
Okay, so I would say don't look at the negatives at this moment. Your prelims is on 5th June, and it's very early to think of the negatives and getting scared out of those negatives. I never joined any test series for the prelims. I used to give free mocks that used to be available on the online. But I used to get on the Xerox in the Xerox shops. You will get all these free test papers. So if you don't want to don't challenge yourself. No, I want very less negatives in this particular exam. Just solve 10 questions at one time. At this moment, it's very important for you to go through the explanation properly. It's not important to just write as many papers as possible, but explanation. If you don't go through the explanation, then whatever you will solve these questions, you will forget when the prelims will be there. So if you are making mistakes, if you are getting very negative answers, then it's very good that you are still finding opportunity. You are still finding those points which are you are yet to prepare. So now there are 2 months, and you know which points you are making mistakes. So write down those points. For example, if you are making mistakes in polity, then jot down those topics where you need to prepare again. You can go and revise those points which you have made mistakes. Same goes with history. If you are making mistake, go and read that chapter once again. So negatives at this point, I won't say it's very discouraging, but it's quite encouraging, because you have read this whole syllabus once. Now you have started attempting questions, and you are finding some negatives. So that is not a problem. You have to find the opportunity in that. You have to go through the explanation part. You have to think why I made this mistake. What can I do to not to make this mistake again? And when you are going through explanation and you find something new, write it down in separate paper, so that you can revise it when there is a 1 week left for your prelims, so that you won't make that mistake once again. Normally, what happens? We don't work on our mistakes. We, in order to solve as many as questions, we just see कि हाँ नहीं मुझे सिविल्स दिल्ली का भी सॉल्व करना है, मुझे वाजीराम भी सॉल्व करना है, मुझे फोरम भी सॉल्व करना है, मुझे विजन भी सॉल्व करना है। बट इसमें ऐसा होता है ना कि आप वो रश में आप वो भूल जाते हैं कि क्या आपका मिस्टेक हो रहा है. So it's okay if you could solve very less questions, no issues in that. But solve those questions with a proper revision, with proper explanation, and make notes out of those explanations, because that is going to help you in your final
So
exam. This is
the one more
the
problem. Re-evaluating the questions are taking a lot of time, sir.
Okay. So you mean to say when you are going through explanations, it's taking
Yes,
too
sir.
much of your time
That is taking approx 4 to 5 hours.
for one question paper?
Yes, sir. So actually,
okay.
most of the questions are familiar, but the means in the questions we have to eliminate. Those eliminating options are very lengthy, actually.
Okay. So okay, I'll repeat again once again. When you are going through explanation,
Yes,
when
sir.
you are going through explanation, you must have got confused between two options.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So think again, ki why you got confused? Is it something you have not read, or is it something you have made a very factual error, or it was a silly mistake? What was it? So if it is taking 4 to 5 hours now, it's okay, I would say, but you have to go through these explanations. Otherwise, it's going to confuse you in the final attempt, in the final exam also. So if it is taking 4 hours, and you have to reduce this hours. Like
Yes,
right now, it's taking 4 to 5 hours. It's okay. Even when I used to, when I had given my first and second attempt, then that time I used to devote 4 to 5 hours for this question paper, its analysis, and remaining for revision, reading additional stuff. But I would suggest don't ignore those questions which you have made mistakes in. It's very important to go through this explanation, because you might come to know very new things which you have totally neglected, or you might be able to guess what actually mistakes you are making, and that is going to help you in other subjects also. Like for example, in polity you have made some mistake, factual error. You can write it down. Okay, these are the questions which you have made a factual mistakes. You want to repeat it in history questions, or you want to repeat it in geography questions. So this experience will help you. It's not like it's taking time, so you are totally going to leave it. I would say let it take 4 to 5 hours, but go through it at this time. But as when only 1 month is left, then obviously you have to work in a way that you can't afford to give more than 2 hours, 2-3 hours, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. But I just let me tell you, I just want to tell you one thing. I'm also someone who has written 5 mains, qualified for 3 interviews. I never used to get more than 70 marks in my any test, but I still managed to qualify prelims. So just make sure learning should be your focus on the test, not judging by the marks. Okay,
Yes.
thank you for Saurabh.
Thank
Next,
you.
I think Kamalkant is here. Kamalkant Bharatkar, if you can ask your question, please unmute your mic.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I hope I'm audible, sir.
Yes, you're audible, Kamalkant.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. So the question that I'm going to throw is quite broad in itself. Broad in the sense, let's say the people commit mistakes again and again, and after committing the mistakes, they learn from it. But in my case, it's quite different. Why I'm saying it's quite different in my case, sir, I'm left with 2 more attempts. 2023 will be my last due to the age restriction. And it has been around 2 months. I have started my preparation and I am a working professional. I am a teacher and I am starting from the stage. So, I mean, I don't have that much amount of time with me that I commit the mistakes, I learn from it, I introspect, then I learn from it, and I go. If I do the same process, then definitely, I mean, I won't have that much amount of time. 2023 is my last. So, what I'm looking for is a kind of close up strategy or the recipe that one has to follow so that could make it through and could make it to the list.
Yes, Kamalkant. I think.
And as I told you, sir, I am starting from this stage and I am also working professional. I am a teacher. So if you could tell me something more about, yeah, sir.
Okay, if I got you correctly, you want to say you have very limited time with you and you don't want to make mistakes, right? And
Right.
so what would be your strategy? Okay, obviously, anybody who is going to write it for the first time, I'm not going to suggest that you make mistakes and then you take 3-4 attempts that I have taken it. I wouldn't suggest you that. Obviously, you should make it through the exam in your first attempts. That will be my best wishes. But I would say ki in order to not to commit those mistakes, you can go. You should know what mistakes they have made. Normally, aspirants make. So discuss with your friends, discuss with your seniors or some mentor like in Civilsdaily you have, or someone who can tell you what mistakes one should not do. There are online blogs where toppers have suggested common mistakes one can avoid. In prelims, normally mistakes that we make is we try to read a lot, but we don't revise it. We try to read a lot, but we don't solve questions, and that's why we get confused in the final exam. So these are some questions. But if you want to know what mistakes you should not make, I would say you can go through online blogs, on YouTube. You will find many videos where the toppers they have come up with their own experiences, and they will tell you, okay, these mistakes you can avoid that we had made. So developing a strategy out of the mistakes. For that, you need to know what mistakes you can make. Right.
Yes, I think
So even as Swatantra said right now,
it was my last question, right? It was the last question. How Sandeep Bhaiya's people like mentors would help you. Yeah,
right, exactly.
Essentially, we are sharing our mistakes only.
Right, exactly. Like these sessions are helpful for you, for aspirants like you who have very less time with them. So you have to learn from the mistakes of others. If you don't want to make mistakes, you have to learn from the mistakes of others. Otherwise, how would you know what mistakes normally you make? And that's why I would suggest you can go through online blogs. I would suggest you to get some mentor. That will help you because a mentor is not someone who is writing afresh. He has his own experiences, so he can tell you better what mistakes normally people make, and that way you can avoid it.
Yes, thank you. I hope Kamalkant, your question has been answered. Next is Surendra. Surendra, can you please ask the question?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, my question is regarding the history questions. When we see there are a lot of random questions in ancient Indian history, or the same questions in science and technology, like in 2020 there are questions like Dornova Palance and others Elisa. So what is the best approach to answer those questions where you know nothing?
Okay, as I previously mentioned, out of 100 questions, you will find at least 40 questions where you will say this is totally out of syllabus. And out of 40, there will be at least 10 questions you might never heard of that particular term. It happens in history. There is some term which is being used in some ancient or medieval period, but you have never heard of. That's true. But I will say out of these 40 questions, 30 can be managed. 30, because in 30 questions, UPSC itself, they have tried to give some hint in that particular option. I had worked when I had not cracked this exam. I had worked as a prelims question paper setter in Waziram and Ravi. So there, I used to set prelims question papers, and I know how we used to set questions. For particular question, there are 4 options, and in all these 4 options, if you want, and again, UPSC has started this trend: 1 and 2 is correct, 1, 2, and 3 is correct, so that students take a lot of time and they won't be able to manage it. But somehow you have to manage. So I would suggest read these options very carefully. And previously also I had mentioned there are intellectual guesses where you can solve these questions with your intellectual guess. I would say for the 10 questions which you have never heard of, it's very risky to attempt those questions. So you can leave these 10 questions. If you are not sure, leave it. My target always used to be 85 to 90 questions. In my last attempt, I had attempted some 83 questions because I was not sure ki I will be correct in all those 90 questions. So even I had reduced my target, which was used to be around 85 to 90, because you have to be careful that these questions don't go in negatives also. So 80 plus attempt is good. Don't touch the last 10 questions which you have never heard of. If you have heard of, luckily, and you can take a bet, then go for those 10 questions. But remaining these questions which are quite confusing, read through these options carefully. They have given some hint in that. And how you are going to develop this intellectual gaze, I will suggest you go through as many questions as possible. I think in previous answer I had repeated this. If you are making a mistake, if something is going negative, you can go through the explanation of this and think of it for 2 5 minutes. You have thought of this. Okay, the Geneva Convention is about this, and so that the participant members will be these countries. But okay, I thought it like this way, but no, the answer is the explanation tells it is otherwise. So this is totally new question, new information to you. So you even you had made that mistake by confusion also. So that is something new to your addition. That is something new to your knowledge. So write it down in that particular topic. If it is with international relation, write it down on a separate paper. If it is with respect to geography, write it down so that it won't confuse in later period. The last week of your prelims, last week of your preparation, I would suggest give it for your revision. I had kept 7 days for revising 7 subjects like history, geography, polity, economics, international relations, environment, current affairs. So I used to revise one topic in one day, and that used to boost my confidence. कि हाँ ठीक है मैंने revise कर लिया है, and if I go and see some uncomfortable questions, I won't feel frightened by it. Anyhow, you are going to get scared because of the uncomfortable questions or totally new questions. But I would suggest take your intellectual guesses with you, and if you are not sure about it, leave it. It's not necessary that you have to attempt all the 100 questions.
Yes. I hope, Savindra, your question has been answered. Now next is Nazanin. Nazanin, can you ask the question?
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Sir, actually, I'm afraid of CSAT. How to overcome and how to work in note making along with current affairs.
Okay, regarding your first question, how to work with CSAT.
Yes,
I
sir.
am from engineering background. I did not face much difficulty in CSAT. But yes, because of that, I did not take CSAT lightly. I used to solve the UPSC CSAT question papers because if you analyze, one thing I forgot to mention in my previous talk, you have to analyze UPSC prelims question paper, whether it is paper 1 or paper 2. You have to analyze it. For CSAT, it's going to help you because UPSC keeps on asking same type of questions, whether it is time, distance, speed question, or it is a probability question, or the passage reading comprehension questions, or logical reasoning question. It's going to be same around the same topic. So you will get a fair idea if you go through the UPSC prelims, actual UPSC prelims, previous year papers, and note down the topics which UPSC has been asking. I think there might be some books also which has given solution about the UPSC prelims question. I am sure that there will be some books, so you can take help of those books also, and try to practice as many questions as possible. If you are a non-engineering graduate, then I think you need to take it very seriously because many of my friends who could not make it through last year's prelims, they could make it through paper 1, but they could not clear paper 2. So if you could not clear paper 2, then all your efforts will be a waste. So take the CSAT very seriously, and I think this approach will help if you go through previous year question papers and jot down like probability. There is one topic, probability. You can solve some. You can devote 1 hour for each of each day for this one topic, and keep on solving these sample questions or previous year questions only. Like from 2014, you'll get as many questions as possible. So try to solve those questions, and I think that will be a big help for your CSAT. Regarding your second question, how to make notes out of current affairs. I think in my first question only I told this. I did not make notes out of current affairs because there are many coaching institutes who are giving ready-made materials for the question for the current affairs. There are current affairs magazine. I used to go through Vision's monthly, but even later on I had shifted to I guess Rao's IAS. So it's not from any coaching classes. I'm not sure whether Civilsdaily provides any monthly magazine or not. Swatantra can help in that. But if there is one, you can go through any coaching classes material for current affairs. Don't waste your time in doing same stuff again and again. You have very limited time. You have only I would say 16 hours a day for your preparation. And in that 16 hours also, if you are wasting your time in doing stuff which has already been done, because let me tell you, coaching institutes, they have kept a very good team to compile the stuff and come up with a very good material. And they compile the news from Indian Express, they compile news from the Hindu or the Hindustan Times or the Earth magazine or anywhere, the Science Reporter, vagera, vagera. So they will compile the news for you. They will give you in the magazine, so that you won't waste your time in jotting down all those points which are in the newspaper.
Yes, Kunal Civilsdaily do provide monthly compilation, and because there's a program named Samachar Manthan as well.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
I think Nazin, your question has been answered. Now, Shubhangi Sharma, you asked question. You were supposed to ask question
Yes,
earlier
sir.
as well. Can you please ask the question?
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So I have a few questions. Like, for example, who's been preparing for a while now, how do you make revision more exciting, in the sense that I find passive reading of the same material again and again very boring? So I really don't even feel like revising. That's one of my questions. The second question is, in the last 45 minutes of my exam, I go back to the questions where there is a 50-50 probability. Right, this time around, I got, out of the 15, 12 wrong. So how fruitful it is to attempt these questions, number one, and what is the golden number that you need to solve for someone in the open category? And the third question is, in the current affairs, now for the two attempts that I've given, the current affairs that UPSC is giving is not direct. It's not like a 2019 paper or 2016 paper. It is applied knowledge of the current affairs. So how should I take the risk of doing 50-50 for current affairs, or should I focus more on the static part and just add on the current affairs?
Yes, Kunal, before you answer the question, Shubhangi, you have asked multiple questions. Kunal, you can choose one of the questions or two. Shubhangi, for other questions, you may write into the chat box. Kunal or me as well, they would answer the questions. So I hope, over to you, Kunal.
Okay, the first question that you said, now since you are preparing for a while, it becomes very boring when you revise it. That happens. I have read it 5 times. I know how boring it is. And only exciting thing you can do is share those notes or discuss those topics with your friend. That is the only thing. We used to go to drink tea, and we used to discuss over a chai. ये आज मैंने पढ़ा, वो आज मैंने पढ़ा, this is the additional point I found. Or we used to frame questions. We used to ask question to our roommates कि हाँ चल मैं तो क्वेश्चन पूछ लेता हूँ, and उस पे फिर 1 2 3 4. And obviously those were very stupid questions which UPSC is not going to ask. But at least that used to create some enthusiasm among us. We go and read it. Addition to that, you can use multiple markers. If I show you my notes, in my first attempt, that was a black marker, black underlining, then that was a green marker, then it was yellow marker, red marker. So multiple markers. But yeah, it's going to be very boring. It's going to be very hectic for you to revise it. But there is no other option because this exam is going to test you a lot of patience from you. And I forget other questions. I think your second question was with negative, that how much, what is
The
the ideal
golden number of how
yeah,
much you
golden
should
number of
solve and
questions.
how many questions should you take the 50-50 chance for?
Okay, so to answer your second question, there is no golden number. As I said, I used to try to attempt 85 to 90 questions. But as you said, now UPSC has changed the pattern. It's not like 2016. So yes, it's very risky. And I told before that in my last attempt, I had attempted 83 questions. So even it was less than what I used to attempt before. So it totally depends on you. There is no golden number which you have to attempt. If you are attempting 60 questions, but you are very sure that all of them are going to correct, and as a general category student, you are getting 120 marks, you're through this prelims. But you have to be sure that you are going to get all these 60 questions correct. So that's not going to happen because there will be some simple mistakes and all. So to answer your question, there is no golden number. And how much risk you can take 50-50, I would again say just look at the how much attempt you have made. If it is going to help you to cross that um, magic number of 105 or 100, what is the cutoff, then take the risk. If you don't want to take the risk, leave it. But your primary motive is to cross that cutoff number.
Yes. So we are in the final minutes now, Kunal. All those aspirants who questions we cannot take or answer, they can just write their question in the chat box, and their queries will be answered just before we end the session. My final questions to you: was it worth it? All the pains, depression, fighting, study hours. Was it worth it?
Yes, it is worth it. It is worth it. Swatantra, you yourself have written for the mains 4-5 times. You appeared for 3 interviews, but I would say I would not regret a single day that I had made into the preparation. Every morning in Delhi, you know how much cold it is. So every morning I used to wake up at 6:30 because that was my schedule, and I used to feel कि नहीं यार मुझे आज नहीं उठना है. But every day I used to tell myself कि बस आज के दिन उठ जा, बाकी के दिन you can take rest for the rest of your life. And I will tell you, it is really worth it. Going through all those pains, going through these sleepless nights, going through that depression and frustration. But now when I'm working here as a part of probation, I have various charges. I had a BDO charge, I had a Tehsildar charge, I had executive officers of a municipality charge, and I'll be having my SDM charge now, and including also JMSC, Judicial Magistrate Second Class. So it is really worth it, guys. If you are seriously preparing for this, give a serious, give yourself, give 100% of yourself, your studies, because it's going to make a lot of difference in not only your personal life or your professional life, but it's going to make a lot of difference in people's lives. And you might have heard this. There is no work satisfaction when people talk about their professions. They say there is no satisfaction and all.
Yes.
But this job gives you satisfaction. This job gives you work satisfaction, and I will say it's totally worth it. Whatever the pains you are going through.
Yes, I totally can see it from my
And in
pauses
addition to
that
that,
you.
in addition to that, you get a lot of Instagram following, you get a very Twitter following, you get personal messages in the chat box asking your contact numbers. So in this preparation time, nobody will ask you who are you and what are you doing. But when you make your mark, then everybody is behind you.
Arsh se first tak ka safar.
Yeah.
Arsh se first tak ka safar. Thank you so much, Kunal, from the Civilsdaily. I just want to take this opportunity for taking the time out and guiding the aspirants. I hope all those who were in this session, they were able to benefit from it. And thank you so much once again. Thank you so much, Kunal.
I would like to thank Civilsdaily for having me here. And if these aspirants they had got something from this session, I'm really grateful. Okay, fine.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you
okay,
so much, Kunal. Again, all my best wishes. All the team of Civilsdaily just giving you the best wishes. Hope we could host you often in Delhi center or maybe at another location, and the best basis for your career ahead. Thank you so much, Kunal.
Thank you so much, Swatandra. Thank you so much.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civilsdaily.